Well, hello, and today, as always, I've got the Magic Man, Owen Butterworth.
G'day.
And across from me, I have, like, an old friend, and not old, well, yeah, old, but an old friend.
I've got grey hair.
This guy I've known since I was maybe about 12 or 13 years old, I reckon.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, so it's been a long time. And today we're talking to Benny Pounder. Benny Pounder, how you going?
Oh, if I was any better, I'd wet my pants, mate.
Awesome, I'm going to use that one. I like to say any better, I'd burst, but let's go with that. So today we're going to talk to Benny about a bunch of stuff. His early formative years of music, and then we'll lead into kind of what he's doing these days, and maybe even let Owen and Ben nerd out on what he's got in his home studios, because...
Yeah, not for too long, though.
Not for too long?
Oh, fuck, we'll go for hours, man. You know.
Get that nerd alert ready on. We might need it today. So, Benny, I met you in high school, and I've actually told this story... Well, I've told a little bit of a story about you on the podcast already. When... the old Wentworthville cowshed days were around.
Oh, shit. Yeah.
So that's when I first met you. You used to come down to Northmead High School and put on Battle of the Bands and barbecue days and stuff like that. You were only a teenager yourself back then, 16, 17, something like that.
Yeah.
Old enough to have his P's, because I remember that little van.
Gig mobile.
That was awesome, mate. That was awesome. So... the cowshed. Explain to the people that are listening what the cowshed is, and how you kind of got yourself organised or involved with that.
Yeah.
And with the youth of Western Sydney, I suppose.
Yeah. Well, I was a blow-in at the cowshed. Played my first gig there. It was pretty important to Western Sydney, as around those areas, councils were all about politics and not about youth or entertainment or anything like that. So what happened was if I was, say, a young 14-year-old kid that was playing guitar and had a friend that was a drummer, and obviously at that time we're talking about the grunge era, so every kid was playing guitar, every kid was playing drums, every kid either knew or could play an instrument. It was just the popular thing to do. So there was lots of kids that were basically playing music, but there was never any venues around for people under the age of 18 to play, let alone people over the age of 18 back then too, because it was the rise of the poker machines. So venues were closing. But anyway, in that era, there was a guy called Keg who started it. I can't tell you the full-blown background story, but he was a youth worker that identified that his outreach would be better suited to have live music, and having that youth centre in Wentworthville based around live music.
Was Keg on his birth certificate?
Yeah, pretty much, man. He's a top bloke. And James, I can give you his number. You should get him and Kieran Duke Burns in here to talk about the back history. So before I was there, it was sort of like a pre-genre of bands like Cryogenic, Spilt Milk, all those sorts of guys, which were huge in Western Sydney. And everyone was wearing their shirts. Everyone knew who they were. I'm sure you knew the band.
Oh,
Yeah. I think Owen might even have heard reminiscences of them. They were Western Sydney cult music. You know what I mean? So what happened was this venue was already having those bands. What happened was all these guys were turning 18, 19, 20 and moving on to, obviously, places like the Iron Duke, the Annandale Hotel, doing the rounds on the pub circuit, because obviously they're an age. So what happened was there was a whole younger generation or void that was missing. Keg went out. I was playing at a school band thing or something, and it was like a concert night, and he happened to be going and basically approached us and said, "Hey, do you want to play this?" So I played, and obviously first real gig, and not playing to like 5 people that were friends, but playing to like 100 people in a crowd, and they were cheering you on, and none of us, they didn't know our originals, but they were sure trying to sing them after the second chorus. Nice, it's like, fuck, this is really cool. I mean, I think that was at that point, I was like, fuck, man, this is what I want to do. You know what I mean? So that's what I did, and was playing that, and I did a few gigs there. This is way before your time.
Yep.
And then basically after about a year or two of just sort of hanging out there every time the show was on and playing there, obviously in between bands, I got to know a few of the bands as well. And a lot of my friends' bands started playing, and it soon developed that I was in a group of ringleaders for all these bands that were playing. So what happened was these guys got me and 3 other friends involved. Goonboy was one of them.
Yep.
Another girl was Bronwyn Chalker. And they got us involved in being a younger generation of what they called the band committee. That was my first experience with sound. So what they thought was Bronwyn did all the organisation with the bands, and same with Goonboy, but they put me more on the production role, and I had no idea what I was looking at. But my first band I jumped on basically was mixing Spilt Milk for the first time.
Yep.
And that's the first time I ever touched a mixer, you know what I mean? And I was sold on it. It was just like how much control I could have over making the vocals louder, drums quieter.
Yeah.
I was sold on it, you know what I mean? And that's pretty much where my original passion or first, wow, this is so, you know, egg dropping, or the penny dropping moment, you know?
Yep.
But anyway, cut a long story short, moving forward about a year, we were talking, and what we discovered at an early age is venues and bands do not attract a following unless it's a cult following, and I think that's what a lot of bands miss. And back in the 90s, is I think that venue got it right, because what happened was people came and they stayed. And they didn't come to see any Pacific band.
You just went.
They just went.
Yep.
To the point where people were living, like, if you talk to any kid that grew up in that area that went to the cowshed, they were living through the month to go to that venue. Literally. Okay? And it was the last Friday of every month. And if you talk to anyone in that area, they'd tell you, man, cowshed that night. That was what they did. It didn't matter what else was on.
Yeah.
That's where they were on a Friday night.
Oh,
and it was like a cult. And it soon became probably, I think, the biggest night there. Well, I mean, you got to remember that the actual hall was not much bigger than this room.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's just
It was a
hall,
tiny place.
Yeah.
But I remember one night there was probably 800 to 900 kids
Holy shit.
breaking out to the park,
Car
because
park
there
full.
was a basketball packed.
The drain was full.
So the drain was full. Like, you could not move.
Wow.
And they had the PA, they had the doors open, and people were watching these bands from literally the drain.
Wow.
And people were moshing in the drain. Like, it was crazy. And basically it just grew and grew and grew to a point where they were actually asking council for support. Like, we need a bigger venue. Like, we can't house this many kids, and not only do we need a bigger venue, we need funding for security. We need more youth workers to police, because like, what do we do with this many kids? Like, you know what I mean? And council at the time, I think it was sort of it fell in a funny position, because it was like Cumberland Council and Parramatta Council. I can't remember the details of it, but they just would not fund anything to do with youth related activities. Very probably 50s Christian sort of people that ran it, so they were very conservative. Young kids should be seen, not heard. You know what I mean? And that's exactly what it was like. So they couldn't get any funding. People wouldn't help it out. They had a leagues club next door, and what basically happened was there was that many kids. It was deterring from people attending the leagues club, because they were driving into the car park and going, well, this is a bit scary, and driving back out. I mean, you see, 300, teenage metalheads, and back then it's like, if you're someone, if you're someone going, an older person wanting to have a slap on the pokies and seeing that in the car park, you'd kind of be a little bit cautious. And obviously then the complaints were risen, police came, and after a period of time of complaints, it was closed down, which was a real shame. But the legacy did continue. So you had things like Wastelands kick off. A lot of those bands put venues on, and still do. So there is a community still in that, but it's not as like that. You know what I mean? But a lot of people learnt that cult following is what it's about. And you see Lincoln Pin's kind of doing it at the moment. Lincoln Pin's got a bit of a cult thing going on.
Oh, they sure do.
It's like Central Coast. And that's kind of, if you can think of the Lincoln Pin, but everyone's underage, and it's got like masses. But if you watch the Lincoln Pin now, that's almost like it was. It's very reminiscent of what the vibe was. Like if you could, we could go to that venue this Friday night, not know a band, but I can guarantee you we'd all have a friend in common there.
Oh, 100%.
You know what I mean? And that's what this place was like, you know. But it was bigger, you know what I mean? And it was just a bit more community, probably a bit more evolved. But but you can see places like that is that there's the cult thing happening. You know what I mean? And that's what that place was. And when you went there, you were part of. Didn't matter who you were. You were like, well, James will tell you.
It was the most welcoming place I've ever been to. Like, I was just, a young kid, year 7, year 8, when I first started going down the cowshed, and there were adults like there was 20-year-olds and stuff down there, like people that seemed a little bit scary, even though, and when you walk in, and the music's playing, and the vibe was just so great, and you were welcomed in with open arms. Like, it's such a great memory of mine. Like, Benny was right when he said you used to live through the month to get to the cowshed on a Friday night. Like, it was the highlight. You wouldn't go to other parties. Like, everyone at school would be going to a party, and we'd be going to the cowshed because that's what we did. Like, too bad, so sad. Like, either come or miss out. Like, but to give you a kind of idea of where it is, so it was perched on the side of the Cumberland Highway in Wentworthville. And just to the side of the Cumberland Highway, there's this, it's like the stormwater drain, but it's like, 2 meters deep. Yeah. It's kind of got those curved walls like you see in like the skate games and stuff like that where you can...
Oh, like, the big fucking stormwater.
And there was like a little dribble of like algae water going down through the middle, right? Yeah. And so we just all... You go see your band, like, Benny would come and pick everybody up in his little van, and I think it was just so he had more people to watch him play, to be honest with you. But he'd go around and pick everybody up.
On seats, man.
Yeah, mate. And he'd do 2 or 3 trips. So Benny'd be driving around for the first couple of hours. You'd get there early, and we'd been sitting there, and statute of limitations gone on this one. We had a few VB throwdowns or something down in the drain. Sit down there and have a beer and chat with all your friends, and your mate's band comes on, you run in, you watch them, and just the community and the friendships that kind of grew from that. Like, I mean, a lot of people I don't speak to still, but if you bumped into them, you're still best mates, like, which is, that's the kind of community the cowshed was, which was awesome. So, and I think one other thing I'd like to say, Benny, I think you're the first person to make me realise that there's music outside of what you hear on the radio. Like growing up.
Oh, yeah, man.
Growing up, all you hear is what your parents listen to or what's on the radio. And I think, I credit my love of listening to bands that aren't massive or, aren't getting played on commercial radio. Like, that it comes down to a lot of your influence. So thanks for that.
Oh, cheers, man. I'm glad I've...
So I remember another thing about those early years is we used to get in your van, and I remember you were the first person that I knew to have their own recording stuff even back then. And I think it might have been the Who, My Generation. Yeah. And you were like playing along to it over the top and singing and shit. Yeah. And I remember you like put it on in the car. You're like, listen, how does this sound? And we're like, And we're like rocking out on the way. I mean, you're obviously still doing that now, but when did your passion for recording or production, like, how old do you reckon you were when that, because you were 17 then, so you must have been pretty young when
I started recording at 15.
Yeah.
Sick.
And that was for myself.
Yeah.
So I had, back then, there was no one to teach. I actually started it on a lie. I'll tell you the lie. It was basically, I was doing sound at the cowshed, and one of the bands just approached me and said, "Can you record us?" And I thought, yeah, I can record you.
Amazing.
No idea. No idea. Yeah, I can do that, And so obviously there was no internet back then, like literally no fucking internet.
Yeah, there's no Google. How do you record a band?
No, nothing like that. So what I did was back then it was the era of hock shops. So obviously living in Western Sydney, there was ample hock shops. So what I did was I went to a music store, and I thought the first place to go to is a music store and figure this out. You know what I mean? So I went to a music store, and there was Murphy's Music in Blacktown, and I think I can't remember. I think it was John there, and I said, I want to record, and he sort of laughed and said, okay, what do you want? And I said, okay, I want something to record with. And he goes, well, you'll need a 4-track.
Yep.
And back then that was how we recorded things at home. It was a 4-track.
Like
there was no
like a Tascam Porter Studio kind
yeah,
of.
with Foztech, it was just a little 4-track square machine this big, for people listening, about a foot
like
long,
a tablet,
half foot wide, sounded terrible. But yeah, that was how you did it. But and I said, okay, how much is that? And then he dropped the penny and said it's $500. And I was like, okay, $500. And I thought, well, I'm recording in 2 weeks and I need $500.
Yep.
So picked up my guitar, went down to Parramatta, bust my ass off for the first weekend, managed to rattle up $300, and then literally mowed lawns all that week.
Yep.
And I was $50 short.
Oh.
And I went, okay, what am I going to do here? So my dad was also a guitar player, and I had a Roland Space Echo tape machine.
Nice.
And I had a Chorus Ensemble Original Boss pedal.
Sick.
And
do you still have that?
Well, where do you think that $50 came for the 4-track?
Oh, fuck, dude. Oh.
So it went, and obviously back then, the Space Echo was something that, and I traded an 808 as well. I had, 909, a 909 drum machine, and they were worth, a 909 drum machine was pretty much crud back then. No one wanted them. Dance music wasn't really a thing.
Yeah.
It was sort of just like, dance music back then was like, here's Johnny and what was going on at the raves.
Yeah,
it wasn't really as like, the Central Station record thing was really sort of only just starting to ramp up, So I bought this, I traded in those 3 items for $50 and
Fuck me
4-track.
dead.
And because I traded in those things, he was kind enough to give me a set of, I think it was the Behringer first edition headphones.
Nice.
And he was kind enough to give me 2 SM57s and said, you're on your own.
Nice, yeah, fair enough.
So at least he gave me mics and leads. And so I had everything to get me going with a set of headphones. Pity I didn't realise the band needed headphones too, because I didn't know anything about Q or...
Yeah.
And basically took it home, and I thought that I was going to make this thing... I thought I was going to make this band sound like Fleetwood Mac,
For sure.
And I got home, and in my head at the time, I thought it was Fleetwood Mac until you listen to it, 30 years later. But, I set it up and recorded them and gave them their tape. And I think they paid me $50. And I thought, okay, cool. And then that was the first one. And then the next one came the following weekend, which was friends of theirs, and said, can you record us?
Yep.
And I went, okay. And then I earned another $50.
Great.
And then the following weekend, another $50. And then someone said, can we record Monday? So then it was $100. And managed to earn money at the time. And mind you, back then I was only like 15, 16.
Yeah, wow.
So then I thought, well, I need to sound better. I need a better microphone. And I sort of did homework and found condenser microphones. And I think it was an Apex sort of U87 clone.
Sure.
And back then there weren't many clones under $1,000.
Yeah.
Or many condenser mics under $1,000. So I bought one of those. I think it was like $1,200. I mean, you wouldn't pay $50 for it.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't think you'd even get a 6-pack for one now. But but yeah, I bought one of those and then just slowly grew. But my biggest intake was when DADC Sonny was being built, which is the big mastering studio in Huntingwood, and then there was a big CD manufacturing plant being built. And part of I was an electrical. I'd left school by then, and I got my first year as an electrical apprentice.
Nice.
And I was working as an electrical apprentice, and part of our job was actually starting to upgrade part of that Sony DAD, or set up that Sony DADC.
Yep.
And what happened was a big truck. All these trucks came in with the containers, and full of it was basically, I think they must have emptied out the garage at Darlinghurst or wherever they were at the time.
Gotcha.
And there was all this stuff, and there was a big skip bin. And in the skip bin went a CD burner. And back then, CD burners, it wasn't like a CDR disc. It was a proper burner. I think you've got one here. What I mean? Like it was like one of those. And I didn't, back then, you couldn't, everyone wanted the CDs, but it was relatively expensive, you know what I mean? But I had something where I could go from 4-track to CD.
Nice.
And I could give people CDs.
Yep.
So what then happened was all of a sudden it became $5 for a CD.
Unreal.
And it kind of grew into that, you know? And then basically, fast track along, and it just grew and grew and grew and grew and grew.
Awesome.
Anyways, that was the early days. Sorry to waffle on.
No, that's a good waffle. The electrical. So, are you a qualified Sparky still?
And mechatronics engineer.
You know, you like the the James and Owen hybrid. You're the super James and Owen combined. Recording engineer, electrical engineer, all combined together. You're like what we could be if we had a baby together.
Yeah, for me, yeah. So we got a new guest in the studio, a friend joining. Jump on if you want. So say hi.
G'day, Scotty. First time, and
No, Scotty.
which one's Scotty?
Owen?
Scotty.
Scotty is not present.
Benny.
Benny.
And over here we got the great Nathan Harvey. How you doing, mate?
Nathan Harvey. Good, thanks, mate. Really good.
So you come to join us.
Yeah. I was a bit late. I had a satisfying day at work, but quickly jumped in the ocean and came here and had a cider on the way and a couple of lollies, and here I am.
Very nice.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So, formative years, we've done that. So what are you doing at the moment? Well, I know you've got a nice little home studio. We'll keep the location secret for the moment. But
yeah, man, thank you. It's private. It's invite only. You know.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
well, but I mean, you built that thing with your bare hands. I watched the process go down on social media. Yeah,
He helped me. Yeah.
And I mean, from slab up, you guys did that, or yeah?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yep. From ground up, man.
Oh, it was a shed. It was a shed, and then
Well, yeah. Sorry. Well, yeah, it
eventually-
was a shed. It was actually a laundry, and I was recording in there before it was a studio. So, but it was. I just needed to get rid of the fridge because it's not good having a fridge in the.
And the Hessian sacks on the wall.
Hessian sacks on the wall. So yeah. But I got rid of it all and.
Jim Morrison
Fixed it
recorded
up.
vocals on the toilet, didn't he?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Yeah.
LA Woman, I believe. It was the best sound. They're in a house. They took the door off the toilet and sat on the toilet and recorded all the vocals on the dunny.
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
On the throne.
yeah, on the throne. The man. So, what's the process like building a home studio like that? I mean, like.
I've done it 37 times before.
Well,
so.
37.
Yeah. I've had lots of studios.
Wow.
What you
Yeah.
need to know is Ben Pounder is the epitome of like the mad scientist, right? He's
Yeah.
got the white
Here we go.
You know,
Here we
call
go.
him Professor Tools. That's
Professor
what I
Tools.
call him. Short for Pro Tools.
Yeah. So, well, if you've done it 37 times, you must have it down by now, right? Is this your final one, you reckon? Or?
Pretty, never say never.
Say
You know
never.
what I mean? I would like to think it is.
Yep.
You know, I've built big commercial places as well. Like I've had quite a few studios in between back when like what I was talking about and now, obviously. But yeah, it's literally a studio built for people that I have worked with in the past that get a lot that we gel, and also a place for younger musicians that can't afford to come to a place like this just yet. You know what I mean? But they're good. You know what I mean? And the thing is obviously a lot of the acts I'm recording now will probably end up being Owen's customers. You know what I mean? Here is because they will move on. You know what I mean? And and I'm happy for that. You know what I mean? But you know, walking in to a big studio blind, that you can create a lot more magic in a place like this than you could say at somewhere like mine. But the thing is if you learn the journey, if a young band comes in and gets it all down pat first and learns, say, my way, when they do come into a place like this, they come in prepared.
100%.
You know, and they come in and instead of banging out, you know, something that's average in a week, they'll bang out something that's phenomenal in a week. You know, and
100%.
that's important. You know what I mean? So that's kind of where I like to sit. I pick and choose who I work with.
Yeah.
It's a word of mouth basis. I don't advertise. I'm not a business. I keep it very low key. I keep off. Well, everyone that knows me knows I keep off the radar. And it's sort of, if you know me, you know what I do, and if you don't know me, well, it's like, he owns that. I think he owns a studio over. But no one's ever really seen
found it.
You know what I mean? Like, I've actually said where it is now. Can we go in that bit? You know what I mean? No, literally, that's what it. You know what I mean? That's what it is. You know, it's a private place where, you know, it's leave your attitude at the door.
For sure.
Come in. Let's just all bond. Let's track. Let's have some fun.
Yeah.
And let's not look at the clock and count the hours we're paying for. Let's just focus on, you know, you're here. Let's focus on the music. You know
that
what I mean?
last bit especially is something that young bands in particular cannot wrap their brains around when they come up here. especially for the first time, they get up here and they start tracking, and then someone will make a mistake in a take, and you watch the wheels fall off from there. And it's like most of my job that day is trying to fucking keep the wheels on for the band. And it's, they start messing up takes, then they start wigging out about how much time they have to record, and one of them's got a fucking mum's picking them up at fucking 7 o'clock, so they got to get it done by then, and then they just crumble. So those bands that do come in for that first time, and sometimes it's bands. To be honest, it's anyone who comes here for the first time, never having recording experience before. I find they just wig the fuck out. Which is, the way that I kind of get around that is I do like pre-production in here first, and I kind of do that the same way. It's like, just come in, we'll hang out, we'll have a coffee, we'll chat about your songs, not going to charge you, we're going to chill out. This is what the space looks like, this is what it feels like, and I found that kind of helps. Or I do it at home as well. I've got like a little home setup, which is super chill, and same thing, just like this is what it kind of feels like.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Otherwise, a place like this is fucking intimidating to a lot of people, which I do my very best not to. Like, I'm not a fucking douchebag while I'm recording these people. But I hope I'm not. I try not to be. But, they see the big console, they see the fucking heaps of gear, and there's other people walking around, there's students, there's other bands up in Studio One, or the inverse, they're in Studio One, and there's other bands down here, and they just wig out. So, yeah.
And that's it right there, isn't it? It's about making the artist feel artists have got to feel like they can sit down on the chair and just feel at home. Hey, that's pretty much where you start getting the takes. Hey,
Can I ask you a question? Do you, when you get a new band, do you actually send them something and say a good idea to send in pre-production and things like that?
100%. Yeah. If I've never met a band before and I'm going to work with them, I'll always the first meeting is coffee or beer, or coffee and beer, and listen to music, some of their music, some demos, some stuff that I'm working on, general references for what we're going to be doing, and just make sure that we all know who each other are, and that we're all going to hang out and have a great time, talk them through what the day's going to look like kind of timing wise, so they can kind of know where they're going to be at, let them know what I'm going to be doing on the day. I'm going to be here at 8 o'clock, I'm going to be setting up microphones, you're going to arrive at 10 o'clock, then you're going to get yourself set up, and blah 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 blah, and kind of go through all of that with them, just so they know what's going on the day. Helps them from going insane, I think.
Awesome.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
So, Benny, obviously, you've had a lot of experience in a lot of different studios, this one included. You've done a lot of work up at the Grove.
I've done projects here, before Scott owned it, but I've done quite a few here. There's lots of funny things that I've done here.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. And then you were telling me earlier you spent a bit of time traveling as well, and you were working in studios overseas.
Yes.
Do you want to? Yeah. Do you want to drop some names for us?
Abbey Rd.
Abbey Rd, sick.
Sound City.
What?
London Bridge. Yeah.
What was Abbey Rd like?
Yeah, nice. Nice, intimidating.
Yeah.
I was way too inexperienced when I was over there. I walked in there thinking that I knew the shit,
Sure.
And within about a day, how do I explain it? Guys like Chris Bolster are just gurus. Does that make sense? I don't think there's people in Australia on par with him. You know what I mean? He is just a phenomenal engineer. And when a guy like that gets placed as your assistant, you're going, okay. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Nuts.
It's intimidating as hell. You know what I mean? But in a way, he is very humble and very patient.
Yeah.
And talked me through a lot there. And did a few projects over there. You know what I mean? Did become part of the furniture at some point, but
nice.
You know what I mean? But it was only for on and off for a year. You know what I mean? But we were doing projects there, and it was just one of those things where I'd do a project and then I'd go away for more project, another project here or there. But it was good. Didn't have much to do with one or two, but number 3 was where I did most of my stuff. But yeah, it was more mixing. Obviously, the artist. You're talking £5,000 a day there, so you can't afford it. To track there, you need a big budget. So a lot of the stuff I was doing was mixing there. Mm-hmm. But I think mixing there, especially with I don't know. Have you ever much experience with J consoles?
SSL Js?
Yeah, 9000 Js.
But the only experience I have with I've tracked on a K, obviously tracked on the G with E strips in it up here.
Yeah.
But
Imagine a G with all its bugs.
Yeah.
That's old.
Oh.
With the automation that sometimes works of a K. Does that make sense?
Gotcha. Yeah. I was just about to say my favorite like SSL emulation is the J. So maybe I'll keep it that way. It can just be my favorite.
You keep the channel
plugin.
strips, man. You don't want the console, man.
Yeah.
But no, especially when you get the VCAs up and you accidentally hit the same number on 2 VCAs and then you watch everything just. You got to reboot, you know.
Okay.
Don't ever do that. But no, actually, I have had every single one of those 96 channels moving on that desk for a project. I think it was that song was In the Middle by Lucy Burke, and I did have every single one of those faders moving. I think the mix took me 3 days to complete. It was a big job. Doesn't sound like 3 days. I could probably do that job in about 5 hours now. You know what I mean? You know, to be old and dumb, you got to be young and stupid, I guess. You know what I mean? But yeah, no, it's. I think we finished off the rest of that project here. I think in the mixing it down in Studio One. Yeah. But yeah, that was an interesting one. That one. But yeah. Yeah, other studios was just I tracked in I sort of tracked but also engineered in London Bridge over in Seattle.
Nice. Yeah.
And I've done stuff in Sound City, but it was kind of like a rehearsal studio. It was kind of a weird in between, it was in that really limbo thing. And back then I didn't really know the history or know anything of it, so I was sort of there for a day or two. But you know, but I used to own Billy Thorpe's old studio, which the Brain later became. I gave it to Clayton over at the Brain. Yeah, nice. What do you call it? I own that place. Yeah, sick. What do you call it?
Does he have a Quad 8 console there?
No, he didn't have the Quad 8 back then. Yeah, right, he was in his own little studio next door. Yeah. And then I think he moved in when I went. That's when I first went overseas. Yeah. And I was just back then. That's a whole story in itself with what happened with that studio. But basically, I had that was a lot of overheads, which I was surviving and I was making a good business out of it. But I had a business partner die and going through a divorce at the same time. So there's a lot of memories there. And I thought, you know what, Clayton, if you want it, pay the bond. It's yours, bro. Yeah, you know, obviously having 2 studios next door to each other with very poor sound installation was also a hassle. So there was times where Clayton and I used to lock heads because I was doing drums in one room and he wanted to do a Marshall stack in the other room. You know, and he was doing metal music, I was doing acoustic folk music. So, you know, those 2 studios next door to each other, even if it was a good studio, still don't match. You know, there's always bleed. 100%. So we used to clash all the time. But yeah, that's when I sort of said one day I think I was doing drums with Matt McHugh and he was doing something that needed vocals done and we were both cross-bleeding between the wall and we came to a head with whose project's more important. And I said, you know what, Clayton, do you want my place? And he went, yeah. I said, pay the bond, it's yours. Just let me finish this session. Please. And, amazing. And we did. And that was how I gave that place away. But yeah, I've been in a few studios. Other places like R&R over in Blacktown. And I do a lot of studio repairs as well. Nice. And a lot of funky stuff like for AC for studios and stuff. So I've done a bit for like guys like Rick O'Neill and Richard Burke over at Energy Free.
Did you help Rick move the fucking festival Neve into his house?
No. I think I put my phone on silent.
Yeah, I've heard tales of that.
Yes. It's crazy. You know, he's got that in his lounge room now.
Yeah, I've heard.
It's like literally like. Yep. Mate, it is the best sound system.
It's pretty nuts. It's pretty fucking
Rick's
nuts.
a good mate of mine, man. Yeah. I love Rick. He's a really good friend of mine.
Yeah.
I do a lot of. I still do a lot. He builds studios. Yep. And I still do a lot of aircon or help him out with a lot of aircon stuff.
Awesome.
But yeah, no, he's a great guy. And that festival Neve's a work of.
Yeah,
it'd be good for romantic interludes. You know, put a bit of Sade in the lounge room. You know,
no, dude, I'd marry that desk. You know what I mean?
You'd marry the desk.
Oh man, that's a bit of like
it's a special bit of kit.
What do you reckon, Owen? Like,
yeah, no, it's a nuts. It's literally. It's a piece of Australian music history, absolutely, and it also still would sound fucking incredible.
What has it recorded?
Oh, mate, who hasn't?
Yeah. It used to be in festival, and Benny will be able to speak to this way more than I can because I wasn't fucking alive.
I can get Rick on the phone if you want.
Yeah, it was in Festival Records in Piermont, which was like the studio to fucking be an Australian musician and record. And yeah, it's a Neve console, which is incredible and sounds amazing and is like hand engineered and wired, and yeah, it's an awesome bit of kit.
I'll give you an example of how big this desk is.
Yeah.
Right? Have you ever seen the Dave Grohl or Sound City, the Dave Grohl documentary on Sound City? This desk is its big brother.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So the one that Dave bought from Sound City
Yeah.
is the smaller one.
Okay.
That's the only way I can. That's
Yeah,
a safe assumption, isn't it?
Yeah,
And that's in his lounge room.
I guess that's
Mate,
what they tell me.
With the rest of his stuff too, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got some crazy shit. I have not met him. I think we've emailed once, and I follow him on Instagram, and his Instagram posts are just like the nerdiest, craziest shit ever, but they're the best reads. So good. It's like just a photo of like, you know, a vintage U47. He's got the guts of it all out. He's fucking testing like a tiny little bit of it. And he's like, I'm looking for this screw that I can't find, and blah blah blah. And it's just like, it's,
But he'll know where to get that screw, man.
Yeah,
Like literally,
it's
like
nuts.
if you need to know what size Allen key you need to undo a Neve 1073 module, like he'll tell you what it is. He'll tell you the serial number of any. Like, yeah.
Super nice guy though. Benny sent me once to get a big air conditioning plant out of his studio, and he had to shut down his studio though because they put a gym next door and they started belting weights around. So that was a real nightmare for him. So he literally had to pull his whole studio apart because in his industrial sort of area they put a bloody gym right next door, going bang bang bang.
Fucking
So
hell.
He needs to buy some property, this
You
bloke.
should get Rick in on this show.
Yeah, we should. We can
You should
reach
get
out to
Rick. You should get him in on this because mate, he is a big part of Australian music history. You know what I mean? Yeah,
Cool. That'd be awesome.
Yeah. Otherwise, I'm talking about him, not to him. You know?
That's very good.
But I've got nothing
We can
bad to
follow
say
those
about him. You know?
two.
Yeah,
Great
we should do the podcast on tour and go to him.
We'll go to him.
Yeah. I know where Owen's going with this.
Do you mind if I just sit here? I am look. So when I call Owen the producer of the podcast, he always goes, "Oh, that's very loose terminology." I bet you on that day he's the producer.
Yeah. I'll rock up with my Ray-Bans and a fucking...
All of a sudden,
And his Audio Technica headphones.
I could just see he's got a new pet called Owen. You know?
Yeah. Amazing.
Oh gosh.
So, any big project you're working on at the moment you want to talk about, or?
Man, I've got working on Nathan's epic night train journey that's up to 400 tracks, and we're trying to work out what to do with. You know, Owen, I might talk to you later about mixing it here if you don't mind.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, it's something that me and Nathan have been doing more as a social thing of like, okay, what does this sound like? What does this mic sound like? What does that mic sound like? So Nathan's been learning the recording process along the way.
it's not 400 tracks, Dave.
About 300, you know. But it is a big song.
Yeah.
I've been working a lot with a local band called Toledo Lee and the Huskies. I really love those guys. Working with them, another young guy called Cassidy.
Layla?
Yeah.
Cassidy.
So I just did his last one, only 21.
Yeah.
And I've encouraged him to go over to Jack Negro for another one.
Yeah.
And I think you guys are on the cards for his next one. So I'm encouraging
probably. We
him
work with
to...
his mate Kalani pretty closely.
Yeah. And I hope he does come here and...
Yeah, I'd love to.
Because that kid's great, man.
He's a lovely guy.
Oh, man, he's one of those kids. He's just like this little ball of energy that is super talented. You know what I mean? And I really would like to see him record in so many studios and become that recording artist. You know what I mean? So, and the only way you get that is, I guess, with recording in other people's studios. You know? You know what I mean? But no, I love working with him. And then I'm working with a guy called Lockie or Lace.
Yep.
And I'm doing some stuff with him as well. I think he's mixing some of the songs here.
Cool.
I think Scott's got a few of them at the moment.
Oh, sweet. Unreal.
He's an epic talent.
Yeah.
He's lovely.
And then I'm doing a couple of projects I can't talk about.
Ooh,
That's probably one of the ones I was actually about to ask you about, so we'll just,
I can't talk about them. But, yeah.
Can we talk around them without talking about them?
Yeah.
So I remember because you put a post up.
I know where this is going.
If we
we can
toe the
always-
line here, I can always...
Owen the Magic Man can edit out anything you want. I mean, you can probably take it and edit out
Yeah.
But I remember you put a post up on your socials not long ago saying, I'm getting to record like one of my teenage idols. Or
Yes.
is this what you can't talk about?
One of them,
Can I have a guess?
yeah.
Can I have a guess?
Oh, yeah, you
go
can.
on.
Yeah, male or female?
Male.
Oh, fuck. Fuck, that threw me because I was going to say Tina Arena, so now I know. Now I don't know.
She's all right, man.
She's the best. I fucking love Tina Arena.
So, without telling anybody who it is or, you know, like the ins and outs of it, let's talk about how it feels to do something like that.
That's great, man.
So that when you get that phone call, the email, whatever it is to say, hey, we want to work with you, like, you know, what goes through your head, and then how do you kind of process that into then being able to go and work with this band that you've idolised?
I wanted it, so it was like, oh wow. And when they asked me, it was more like we couldn't think of anyone better to do it with, which was kind of weird. You know what I mean? And then obviously it's kind of funny because the project is taking a long time, but it's not the fact that we're recording lots. It's just we're doing it when we're in the mood for it. Gotcha. So obviously these guys are they're a bit older than me, and they broke up and they haven't been together for a while, but now they're back together, and basically they're
Cogs are it's like
unfortunately
doing the ABC
unfortunately Nathan knows who it is, so it's
every band in Australia has broken up.
So anyway, cut a long story short, it's basically when they can do it, and when they're not in the mood, we just say, hey, we're not in the mood. So I've kept it to a Sunday thing, you know what I mean, where it's more like and we've made this recording more like a bunch of friends. Obviously, they do pay me, but we've made the session more like a bunch of friends having a barbecue in the afternoon, and instead of sitting down and playing a game of pool, we're sitting down and doing an album. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
that's cool.
Sometimes one person can't make it, so we do other parts. Other times, but unfortunately, doing it that way does take a long time.
Absolutely.
But you know, recordings aren't about the end result, are they? They're about the journey you did to get there. I think they're the best recordings, is when you 100%. Talk about the story in making them, I guess, you know.
Yeah.
I find making records is more fun than finishing them. So, you know, but yeah, and I'm loving working with them, and they're a great bunch of guys. And there's also another favourite band that I'm recording at the moment too, and doing both of them and loving them, you know.
Fuck yeah.
But I can't say the names because they've asked me to keep it quiet.
That's cool.
Because they kind of want to just go, hey, here we are. You know?
Nice.
So,
yeah.
And is one of them... Is one of them overseas?
Yes.
Yeah. Because you posted about I should get on a plane, but I'm not going to. I'm going to do it from here.
Yeah.
So can you talk about how that process was? I know we've spoken to
very remote
Jason in the past, who gets people record stuff, send it over to him, and he mixes. Is that kind of what you're doing?
We're doing it through Source Connect.
Yeah.
I learned Source Connect from a guy called Ryan Green, brilliant producer overseas, with the band The Guzzlers. Never went anywhere, but it was a fun little project. And basically met Ryan, and he put me on this program called Source Connect, where you can work remotely, and basically your studio becomes a remote studio, and you just link them together, and it's real time. There's no latency. Wow. I can't believe there's no latency, but there is.
So it's like audio movers on steroids.
Yeah, it's actually quite good. And basically, you get full control over, you know, the DAW, and we've been doing some remote projects with that, and it's been a great platform for it. And then they've just been coming and going. They locked out my studio for a week about a month ago, and they flew over and did some stuff.
Oh, cool.
Told everyone, do not turn up, do not come here, do not just turn, because a lot of people turn up to my studio,
right? Gotcha.
And just for a beer or to say hello, but it was like, don't turn up. It's very confidential, and we just worked together on it. And
of course, a couple of people did though, didn't they?
Yes, yes, they did.
Curiosity got the better of it.
Yeah, but it's all right. You know, it worked out well in the end. So, you know, and that'll be finished in November, end of November this month.
Yeah, cool.
Next month, October. It's November. It's
November.
End of this month. It's finished. So I'm just about to start doing the mix down on the project, and it's all tracked and all ready to go. So it's just basically having a bit of a break, and I've got some catch-up work to do. So I'll mix that down in the next couple of weeks, and you know,
I love that little period in between tracking and mixing a project, because I find that the day after I finish a project, and the project could have been like a single that was only a day, it could be an album that was a couple of weeks, doesn't really matter how long it is. I find like I give it a day, I make sure I still have a girlfriend, get some real sleep, go and see the sun, and, you know, do normal people things. But then, like, the day after that, I get like excited about opening the Pro Tools session again. I'm like, fuck yeah, I can't wait to mix it. Like, I hope the drums still sound good. Like, I get really keen like after having that little break. But you definitely need that little break to, I don't know, like make you excited again or something. Like it fucking.
Well, it also has
again.
a reset button too, because you hear things from like a different point of view. You know what I mean? Like, and I won't. I've got a set of headphones, these headphones, and what I'll do is I'll just throw them on when I first jump back in to mix. You know what I mean? Like when you start the mix, I'll just put them on and just press play. You know what I mean? Just sit back, close your eyes, have a beer, and listen. You know what I mean? And just and then normally I track the next day, so I have that brief moment of I'm going to go in and listen to it, and then the next day make notes, and then just hit the ground running the following day. You know. Nice. I don't know if that's how you do it too, but you know.
I always make sure I have like a desk mix at the end of the session, and then I will normally have a listen back to the desk, and I'll be like, oh, this is pretty good, and then I'll start mixing, and probably like an hour, 2 hours into mixing, maybe I'll reference back to that desk mix, and I'll be like, all right, it's already way fucking better than that. Like, let's keep going. That sounds shit now. Let's keep going. Yeah.
Is it like you know when you play like Mario Kart, you get the ghost? Do you like delete? Yeah. Do you delete the old? You're like, now this is the.
Yeah, it's exactly what it's like.
It catches up, takes over.
I hate that moment when you look at the mix and you've got playlists. You know what I mean? And you open up the playlist and then you go, oh shit, there was 2 mics there. Which playlist was which? You know,
I can help with that.
Yeah.
Target playlisting. Do you use that? Target playlisting is the fucking savior, because then you know if you're looking at a little orange square, you're looking at the wrong thing. That has been that's been a godsend.
Yeah. Actually, the new Pro Tools updates have been quite good with multiple track markers and multiple lines. Like I was a person that was about to walk until some of the new updates came out. You know what I mean? Like, literally was about to walk from it until some of these new updates come out. But
Melodyne integrated is incredible.
Oh, the ARA stuff is ridiculous, isn't it? Even even some of the alignment tools. Like, I like how they've got like. Because I don't know about you, but vocal align doesn't really work for me on a lot of things.
Yes.
You know what I mean? But then the Waves sync or whatever it is,
I haven't used that one yet.
That also works in the Pro Tools ARA as well. And then there's also auto align too. Yep. So between the three of them, something works. You know what I mean? But one of them, I'm not saying any of them are bad, but I'm not saying any of them are particularly good either. It's just you know, sometimes this one will work, sometimes that one will work. But it's good that they're it's really opened up. The ARA stuff is great with what they've opened up. It's about time they did stuff like that.
Absolutely, it's so great.
And voice to text is good too.
I tried that for the first time literally last week, and it was the fucking funniest thing. I did it, and I was like, this is weird, and I just kind of got rid of it. But I was like, it's hilarious.
I sometimes it's good for queuing in stuff, you know what I mean, or where we're at, and also having multiple. I don't know if you see the multiple markers now, but you can have so many markers to just like stickies on your tracks, you know. And
absolutely.
That's huge for me, you know what I mean, and just heaps of stuff. It's actually about time they, you know, made it a bit more, brought it into this
day and age.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
But other than that, it is what it is. It's just DAW.
Yep.
And I'm glad I didn't have to change because I've been using it for 25 years or something.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, I actually saw Ben's frustration growing and growing and growing on social media. At one point, he's like, fuck this, but if I have to click OK one more time on this fucking box.
That was when the Mac M1 came out, and it was like, they went, oh, mate. Yeah.
I kind of accidentally played my cards kind of right in that changeover period. My laptop, which is sitting over there, was my mix. That was my whole rig, was that, and that's got a i7 Intel chip in it.
Yeah,
and that was like the last one they made with the Intel chips, and I had that up until this year, and it was running fine. It was getting a little bit tired on bigger mix sessions. But then I just bought a Mac Mini M4, and I got like the base model one. Yeah. And it's fucking rocking my world.
I wish I didn't go M2. I wish I fucking waited too, because I had an i7 and I was running that. And literally when I first loaded it up, things were going sideways. And I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say it, but I actually opened up their source code and fix the fucking thing.
Wow.
Like, just literally, I think Nathan was with me when I did it. I just got the shits that much that I got in there. Just put a fix in, you know what I mean, just to stop it from, you know what I mean, locking out that function. So for a while there, a certain couple of functions wouldn't work, but that's because I just locked out that because I'm just sick of it, you know what I mean? So and it worked for a little bit, and then obviously the new updates fixed it all up. So. But in saying that, the new owners of Abbey made a good job, you know. So,
which is surprising, to be honest, because they got bought by like a big fucking like hedge fund kind of vibe, did they not?
Yes,
like,
I think so. Yeah. And I think they got rid of the whole board of directors, man. I would have done that for doing for free. I would have gone and said, "You're fired, you're fired, you're fired."
Yeah.
I've got to say they were assholes for me.
Anyway, we shouldn't knock them because they are a good. They are, you know, the meat and potatoes of our industry. So,
they're much better, much better now.
It's heaps better now. Yeah.
Pro Tools, if you'd like to sponsor the Grow Podcast, reach out to us.
Use code Jimmy10.
So we've been talking about music for a while now. One question I always like to ask my guests is, what keeps you going outside of music? I know for some people it's hard to answer because it is their life, but outside of music, Benjamin Pounder, what keeps you happy?
What keeps me happy?
Yeah.
My family, man.
Yeah, cool.
My family, my friends, my partner, Sam. Everyone, you know, anyone that met Sam knows that she's a legend of a person.
Well, she has to be to put up with you, right?
Oh, yeah, man. Yeah, absolutely, man. You know, and kids, I'm a granddad, so obviously seeing my grandkids as well. They live in Gunnedah, so it's a bit hard, but you know, but even that, and
did you get lots of photos of the dog on the tucker box?
Gunnedah,
Isn't
not
that
Gunnedah, Gunnedah. I'm near Tamworth, mate.
That's where you used to sneak over the Queensland border during COVID. There was a little track you could drive through. Just quietly.
Yeah. I make things. That's what keeps me going.
Yeah,
I make things. So I just finished building these hybrid drum triggers.
Cool.
Different to normal piezios.
Yep.
So I've made everything from the ground up.
Yeah.
So super responsive, like with mesh heads, gone through it all, worked them all out, and managed to get Superior Drummer really working like a real drum kit.
So it's,
you know
is it what signal is being sent from the trigger? Is it sending...
both. I can go to a MIDI device, or I can plug it into an audio interface, and then straight in as a trigger from Superior Drummer. But I've got the thresholds and gates that, you know, I've made. Kind of hard to explain. You kind of want to try it for yourself to know. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know about how much you've done with digital drum kits, but they can be a real pain.
No, they definitely can. I've spent a lot of time.
He invented epic triggers. Like, he made them himself.
Yeah, that's awesome.
They were better than the Roland ones.
Yeah, those Roland ones are crazy. Yeah. Those Roland ones are a punish.
Yeah. So everyone that's used it has gone, wow.
They work.
They like them. Yeah. But that was like 10 years in the making.
Wow.
Literally. But yeah, just stuff like that. Like I built a couple little preamps here and there, and little mixers here and there, and just sort of little things that solve problems. Splitter boxes and solve problem solvers. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Obviously, having a studio, you know, sometimes you look at something doesn't work. You know what I mean? And then you know, I was looking at maybe building a like a switchable patch bay, like the Flocks or the Wolves, but when I started looking to how much it was going to cost in relays and then time to make the boards and stuff, I kind of looked at the price of the Flocks and went, you know what? It's actually quite cheap when you think about it.
Or you just looked at the price of some more Bantam patch cables and you went, that's all right too.
Yeah. Mind you, having the Matrix, having a switchable patch bay is a total game changer for me, man.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know. Have you guys got a switchable patch bay yet?
No.
Mate, I'm telling you now, like, that was like an instantaneous being able to switch between different combinations of outboard gear without
that's sick.
Physically going to the patch bay.
Yeah,
that like it saves hours.
Yeah,
does that make sense? Like literally hours, because it literally is, and especially in tracking. Mm-hmm. So I like to track with. I don't know how you guys track, but I love to track with compressors. I like to track with, you know what I mean, different EQs.
Yeah,
I like to track. Go in wet, you know what I mean. Go in wet and just go in with what you want to, try and minimise your mixing, you know. And you know, sometimes it is good to flick between like a distressor and an opto compressor, or you know, or flick. Okay, do I want the 1176 before or after? But just to go AB.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
You know what I mean? When they're actually singing the take. So obviously your first run's a dummy take, but actually to be flicked through in real time while they're singing it, going, yeah, this works better. You know what I'm saying? Like that is, I think, the moment I went, I love switching patch bass.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's pretty sick.
That's it. You know what I mean? I don't think I'll ever go back to a band and patch bass again after that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's unreal.
But yeah, and then from that, obviously, gear was cold. But yeah, I can't remember what we're talking about now. I went off fucking tangent. What makes me happy? I went back to the studio again.
Shocker. It's a
there you go.
Podcast. It's all right.
Revolving doors. I guess music makes me happy. You know, so it's.
So you said you're a granddad. That obviously means you've got kids because that's a pretty kind of influential kind of piece to that puzzle, right?
Yeah.
So have any of your kids followed in your footsteps as musicians or engineers or recording?
Thank God, no.
Yeah.
I wouldn't wish this lifestyle upon anyone. It's not a bad thing. I love it, but it literally is. What do you call it? You leave your day job because you don't like the 9 to 5.
100%.
But then you go into working 24/7. You know, it's it literally is. There's the work-life balance is your work. You know.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. My oldest daughter owns a couple of gyms.
Sick.
My second daughter is in doing neuroscience.
Wow.
My eldest son's just finished his HSC, and my youngest son is just starting in kindergarten. So,
unreal.
You know, so
yeah,
it's
but
just,
Maddie, his daughter's a very, very good muso. She was sort of doing pretty good chops when she was about 6 years old.
Yeah.
You know, so they're always hanging out in the studio and stuff. So
they can play. Like, you know, what I mean,
awesome.
But
Jada's just popped down and mixed the Lincoln pin. No worries. You know, he's only just finished his HSC. So
yeah. Oh, Jada's has done a few mixing jobs. Yeah.
The work-life balance thing is funny. I had an interaction on Sunday with I think he's a golf pro. He's like about my age, down at the Everglades. And it was like 7:30 on Sunday morning, and it was just drizzling a little bit, and I walked in. I was like, hey, mate, how you going? He's like, yeah, good. How are you? I was like, yeah, fucking awesome, playing golf. And he's like, I don't think I've ever been this excited to play golf. And I was like, you definitely have, Danny. I was like, you 100% have been excited to play golf. And he was like, do you get excited when you walk into a studio? And I was like, not on Sunday morning at 7:30, but I bet you'd fucking get excited if you walked in there this morning. And he was like, yeah, true. And I was
like, I still love it, but yeah.
Yeah, I love it too,
Yeah. I think I've learnt to try and avoid the people that make me not love it.
For sure.
Does that make sense?
100%.
I think, and that's where I kind of like being older.
Yeah.
And, you know, like having other sources of income as well at the same time. You know, is you're not bound to, this is my job, you know what I mean? And dealing with certain attitudes and personalities, you know, and just dealing with people full of love and, you know, and those sorts of people end up becoming lifelong friends too.
Yeah.
You know, and that's how I like to keep it, you know.
Yeah.
That's important, you know. But yeah, it's and they respect your work-life balance too, because they're the ones actually saying, "Hey, you definitely taking this weekend off, aren't you?" And it's like, I'm definitely. You're not working on my project, are you?
No, I'm working on somebody else's project. It's all right.
Well, no, they actually all say it to me because they all know each other too. They've all gotten to know each other through my place as well. So like a lot of the guys that come to the studio kind of get to know each other. So I have this little once a month on Tuesday nights little get together.
Nice.
It's sort of open for people within. Like you're welcome, but you kind of, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It's only people welcome within the sort of
the Benny sphere,
the community. Yeah. You can't just. It's not a party. You know what I mean. Like it's more of just, and even that is more. It's more question and answer time too.
Yeah,
like it's like one artist came in one week and it's like, okay, how do I get PPCA stuff sorted? You know what I mean? And it's like someone that's there going, hey, you do this, and then another guy came in and said, hey, I've built this guitar pedal. What do I do with it now? I can't get this to work. And I think I was pulling that apart.
He wants to speak to you soon, Benny.
Yeah, I was pulling it apart and working with it. And then someone else is like, hey, I really am struggling with this recording. You know, it's one of those sorts of nights, you know what I mean?
Cool.
But it's anyway, I've waffled on enough. Sorry, I keep going off into tangents.
No,
back to
that's
this.
the
design. We might be hosting the podcast, but it's all about you today, Benny.
Okay.
Yeah,
really?
we want you to waffle on. Yeah, man. Of course. We want people to get a gist of who you are and what you do and what makes you tick. And
I don't exist.
And, you know, obviously you're a massive part of my music journey, especially my formative years, you know. Always looked up to you as a musician and somebody in the industry. And, one of these people as well that has so much knowledge in the industry. And I know you know a lot of people, don't get me wrong, but you're not world famous, Benny Pounder.
No.
For that, and they're the people we want on here to chat to. I've said this a couple of times. It might end up being a little catchphrase for the podcast, really, but to get those 3 people up on stage, it takes thousands of people in that journey, right?
Yeah.
Even the mum driving them to music lessons, the music teacher, the guys that set up the stages, the hair, costume, whatever. Everybody has their stories, and that's that. And along that too, I'm trying to learn. As much as I can along the way as well.
Absolutely, man.
So hopefully, the listener gets to learn a thing or two. And
music's an endless journey, isn't it?
You never get there.
That's it. You never get there. It's just the journey of just keep making music and having fun. You know what I mean? Really, at the end of the day, to make music is it's part of your, to me, it's part of my soul. You know what I mean? I can't, if I don't know how I could not listen to music or hear it or play it or record it. I don't think I could go more than 48 hours literally without it. You know what I mean? I think I went on a holiday to Bali and then finding a local jam place within 3 days.
Awesome.
Started jamming. You know what I mean? Literally. But I don't think, and I'm sure you guys are the same.
Yeah, 100%.
You know what I mean?
I listen to music every day. I'll play it most days. 100%.
And making it's not necessarily about being famous or making money from it. It's about making it is actually finishing things. You know what I mean? If someone's finished their first project, they've made it because they've made it to their first milestone. You know what I mean? If someone plays their first gig, they've made it to their first gig. You know what I mean? They're making it to their second gig, or they're making it to their biggest gig, or you know what I mean? So making it is literally milestones. You make a milestone, isn't that? You know what I mean? And you can meet artists that are won ARIAs and won, Grammys or whatever, and they'll tell you the same thing. You know what I mean? It's literally...
Well, they still played the first gig, didn't they?
They're still striving. You know what I mean? They're still trying. You know what I mean? It's and people that are... everyone's still making it. You know what I mean? It's not... and that's what it's called, making it. You know, made it isn't a word, I don't think. You know what I mean? It's making it, but that's my opinion of it. It's got to be fun and it's got to be real.
100%.
You know, and hopefully that... and there's an awesome scene happening on the Central Coast at the moment.
Absolutely,
it's there's something really special happening, which I think's made it more fun. I wasn't a local. I've only been on the Central Coast for about 7 years, 8 years. And I didn't really come here to start a studio or anything like that. I kind of just fell into it. And having it here, but the musos I've met along the way, I've met lifelong friends.
Yeah, for sure.
Up this way, you know what I mean, and met great bands, and it's just got this energy, and there's something brewing here. There's something really special about this area. That's and I don't think people realise how many musicians are in this area.
So many.
You couldn't count. There's enough to feed. How many studios?
There's
it's
five that I can think of without thinking of.
I could think of 10.
It's ridiculous.
Literally, it's ridiculous, and it's great because they're all different and they're all places of art. And I don't think I've ever heard someone say a bad thing about any of them, really.
They all serve completely different purposes, and they're all great for different things. They're all
You know what I mean?
The thing about it, there's no jealousy. You go to Sydney sometimes, there's real jealousy, and there's it's hard to get into a certain venue, and even Newcastle in itself, it's hard to get into Newcastle. But Central Coast, they welcome everyone, and they all help each other out. So I found it to be pretty amazing in that respect.
Were we talking about the Cowshed?
Well,
no, 100%.
See what I mean?
No,
you know what I mean? There's a real cult starting here. You know what I mean? It's.
I see lots of similarities between the Lincoln Pin and the Cowshed. The vibe,
you know
Jukey,
the bands that
play there.
You know Jukey.
You
know Duke? Yeah.
Duke down at the...
Kieran Burns. He
was one of the original organisers of the Cowshed. One of the originals.
I would have met Kieran. He would have been a little bit older than me at the time.
Did you see the Lincoln Pin got a shout out from Tim Rogers?
I saw that. Hey, how good was that?
That was unreal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good on Tim for doing that too.
Yeah.
And it's about time Millie and Adam got recognised for that sort of stuff, man.
Absolutely.
Because the blood, sweat, and tears they've put into keeping that place going is unbelievable.
Yeah.
And even the energy they've created and the vibe they've created. Plus, they've kind of instigated friendships there just by having that venue. You know what I mean? Like, I can guarantee if you've been there, you've met someone there.
Yeah. 100%.
They're a big part of it, for sure.
Yeah.
We'll get Adam up here then as well. We should get him up
You
here.
should, man. Actually, those two, those two could tell stories too. Adam's like punk rock royalty.
Oh man, I was
chatting
to him the other week down there, and you kind of tell me the whole reason they did is because pubs on the Central Coast didn't want to play the acts the shows that they wanted to put on. They're like, well, who's what do they sing about and do they swear? And he's like, oh, come on, man, you trust me, just give us a spot and we'll bring the people. It's all right, and you sell beers. You know what I mean? Like, and nobody would put them on. They were too scared of, losing their loyal older customers because somebody said an F word in the middle of the pub. So he's just like, this place came up, and we just jumped at it just so that we could have a venue for bands that we want to play. Like that's and that it's such a, like every time I go down there, there's a band of 18-year-olds to a band of 50-year-olds playing down there. It's such a great vibe. Different stuff on every night. Go check it out. Support them.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's always an appreciative crowd. Like that. It's because music's such a subjective thing. Yeah. The crowd, if it's a room full of punkers, if there's someone playing like dancey stuff or poppy stuff, they'll still get a good round of applause.
Sure.
It's everyone.
And
really,
it's a place where people go and expect music as well, which is good. So
absolutely,
more open to it.
And the funny thing is that's had a knock-on effect.
Yeah,
because other venues are starting to do it too, and that's you know what I mean. And you're starting to see more pop in with live music. You know what I mean. I just hope it maintains it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And I hope artists or musicians, especially, get behind and unite. You know what I mean? And really work together in trying to make... Because, I mean, it's got the potential to become a music hub of Australia if you wanted it to be.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got the musicians.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And it's got the space and it's got the talent. You know what I mean? And it's you know what I mean? There is something that could happen. You know what I mean?
For sure.
But the thing is, it's about working together. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Millie was an editor of Juice magazine back in the 90s, and when I used to work for Channel V and host Channel V, and I used to love going to her office because it was ACP building, and it was also where People magazine was. So you saw the models going. Those. I don't know how to describe them. So I used to rock in there.
I'm sure they were looking at you back then too, Nathan. I'm sure they were looking at you too, mate.
Every now and then the elevator went ping, and guess who'd walk out? James Packer and Kerry Packer. It's like, so I've known Millie for a long, long time, and they also started with Mark Fraser, who used to be right up there with Drum Media.
Okay,
John
Drum Media was the best magazine ever. I remember getting Drum Media from, what was that place you see in Parramatta, the grunge store in Parramatta?
Yeah.
Mosh. Mosh or Beat This.
Yeah, Mosh. Used to go to Mosh.
And there was Hammer House up the road too.
Go to Mosh and buy your concert tickets and pick up your Drum Media.
That's right. That's right.
In your army pants and my 3 Nirvana t-shirts that I owned.
Yeah. And you ran into about 20 people along the way. I remember that.
And my science teacher used to play the clarinet in Parramatta Mall. So busking, he was actually really, really good. But he looked like, that guy, the Smurfs, is it Gargamel? So he looked like him, right? And he'd play, I hope he'll never listen to this, don't worry. And he'd play the clarinet in Parramatta Mall. And I remember him. He was absolutely awesome, right? He was awesome. And I remember...
Dude, you'd have to get him for a track one day.
Yeah, we should actually. And
he was a good clarinet player.
He was so good.
He was really good.
Get your old science teacher.
I remember being at school and giving him shit, right? Like as a teenager.
Absolutely.
That's because you're a teacher. Like but
I never gave shit to my teachers. I was an A-grade student.
Mate, this guy, I'll tell you some stories about this guy. But he was, looking back, he was amazing. And like he was doing that, and he knew that every single kid from that school walked through that mall, and he still did it, and he didn't care. So Gargamel, whatever I forget your name, Mr. Thornton, Mr. Thornby, Mr. Thornton, something like that. You're a legend. Good work, son. So Benny Pounder, I'm going to tell this story again. But you're on the podcast this time. So Benjamin Pounder, as a teenager, was the sweetest young boy you could ever meet.
There you go.
He might not have looked it, but he definitely sounded it. And for my mum, that's all she needed. I remember this guy on numerous occasions coming around to my house to pick me up in the band van. What was it? The U van or
Suzuki Caravan? It's like the mini van. Yeah. It was like a go-kart on wheels. Yeah, with a van.
Knocking on the door with his best phone voice. Good afternoon, Mrs. Wallace. I'm Benjamin Pounder from the local youth group. And we got this venue down at the cowshed. We're taking the kids down there. We won't be able to get them home, so you will have to pick them up around 9:30, 10 o'clock, whatever the ending time was.
That's right.
Right?
But we're on the cans
by then, yeah. But happy to get them all down there for you. So anyway, Benny would do his trips, knocking on everybody's door, and I don't think there was a mum that never let their kid get in this guy's car, which is pretty fucking scary when you think about it.
I was only 17 at the time.
Well, the 90s was different. Yeah, the 90s.
I was 17. Yeah.
But the minute we got in that car, the debauchery started. And that,
oh, fuck.
For me, I won't mention what we did because, there's just use your imagination.
You're making me out to sound like...
No. What? Benjamin never provided the debauchery. He just drove us to the places where debauchery could happen. Does that make sense? But anyway, as teenagers, we'd steal beers off our parents and whatever. But... that was, they were the fun times. They're those core memories that you hold on to for the rest of your life.
Oh, gosh, we got the some trouble back then.
Oh,
too.
mate, we got in so much trouble back then.
Best times though, hey.
Man, for sure.
We were lucky to grow up in those times.
Yeah,
man. But the thing is, there was no internet, there was no social media. So what happened?
No pokies.
The amount of times you used to get drunk, out in a field somewhere and just I don't know how we're still
Grey
alive.
Stains Oval, you mean in a field somewhere?
Literally a field, and to be like 200 kids. With Western Sydney was different to a lot of other places because, especially areas like Northmead and Greystanes and things like that. Back in the 90s, there was like bugger all public transport.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was sort of the era of the recession Australia had to have sort of shit, you know what I mean? And like literally there was like no public transport. So you either got somewhere by bike or someone you knew had a license and drove, you know what I mean?
Right.
And what I used to have was to get people to places. No one, I think that was the early one, was you figured out if I could go pick everybody up, then I could drink, but they've got to get their own way home.
Nice.
And a lot of people didn't go home.
Yeah.
I think there was a lot of people that slept in that park for that weekend. I think there were people that slept at the cowshed too in that.
And every now and then I used to go for a swim when he pools as well.
Yeah, for a shower. Yeah, you have a clean, You just,
amazing.
Yeah, that's right.
That wasn't down that canal down the back of Toongabbie.
Yeah.
I've heard stories about that place.
Oh, gosh.
Well, guys, I think we've kind of had a good chat, covered a lot of what I wanted to talk about, and I mean, there's nothing stopping us from ever having another chat down the line to, talk again. But the way I like to close out every podcast is by first thanking the Grove and the Grove Studios and the Grove Studios Academy for helping me out with the podcast, and then asking you to recommend me a song to listen to on the way home.
A good one or a bad one?
Whatever you want. The floor's open. We're gonna close the podcast out with a little snippet of this song, and everybody else is gonna be able to hear it too.
Oh, on the spot.
Please don't pick mine.
You know what? If it's one song, I can't. If it's something I've done, I can't pick because I've got so many artists that I've worked with that I could pick 100.
Oh, it doesn't have to be something you've done. It can be anything.
Pick a song.
Yeah.
Something from yesteryears.
From yesterday, from the yesteryears.
Yesteryears. Dead Kennedys.
Dead Kennedys?
Yeah, I fought the law. There you go. Dead
And
Kennedys.
the law won.
And the
I
law
don't think
won.
you ever
There
took
you
that
go.
Dead Kennedy shirt off,
No,
did you?
no. There's some roots and all.
Was
you know?
it like a holiday in Cambodia one?
Yeah.
My old man has the same
Yeah.
one, and he still wears it on special occasions because it's about fucking. You could see through the fucking thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something
Awesome.
weird. Yeah. Dead Kennedys. I fought the law. There you go. There's
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Drinking beer